Let me
sports
tell you
cars.
something, brother.
And I was more of a, I was a sexy boy,
Turn me up.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome to the Collector's Corner. My name's Chris,
My name is Trey.
and we're here for all things collectibles. Whether you're a novice just getting into the game, or if you've been doing it for a long time, you've come to the right place. Collector's Corner is all about all those things that we love to collect, from sports cards to sneakers, from whiskey to cigars. We're going to cover it all. We're going to give you in-depth discussion on how you can obtain collections, the best methods to go about getting your collection. We're going to have one-on-one interviews with those that are actually in it, producing the products. It's going to be great. We appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely, man. I mean, as a kid, we know how it feels to get something that you can get attention off of, right? Like you go
Sure.
to school, you got your fresh new Penny Hardaway jersey on, or your bearded Grinch, you know what I
Yeah, that's
mean,
right.
sweatshirt on, or Ravens fans here, 49ers fan here. But whatever means a lot to you, you know how it makes you feel when people notice it and be like, oh, where'd you get that from? Like, I didn't think I'd come to school today and see somebody wearing those new Jordan 11s.
That's right.
So collectibles has been around for a while. I mean, it will always be around, and people just get excited, man. Whatever makes you feel good.
For sure. And today's going to be all about sharing a little bit about behind the curtain, what gets us excited about collectibles. But for me, the number one thing in collecting is you've got to find your why. Your why is your passion behind everything. All of those other things of how you obtain collectibles, where you go to get them, that starts with your why. Are you doing it because it's nostalgic? You
Yeah,
loved it, you grew up with it? Are you doing it because you're trying to get a quick buck and flip things? I mean, we are in a world now where collectibles have taken off. People are making big money. We're going to show you how to do that if that's your thing, or if you're just doing a personal collection
yeah,
to where you're just looking back on your childhood. We're going to show you how to obtain those hard to find items.
yeah. And don't feel like you have to be, one way or another, because it's okay. Like if you're just collecting something because you look on eBay and you see it's selling for 600% of what you bought it for, that's cool. Like we're not knocking you if you're trying to make a quick buck, and we're also not knocking you if you're collecting something and you're holding on to it, but it means something to you and it just tanked and went down 2000%, right?
For
So
sure.
if that's your favorite player, that's your favorite item, that's your favorite color, that's your favorite movie, and you just want to collect it and pass it down to your children, or somebody in your family, that's okay too. So don't think we're trying to sway you one way or another. We're just having a conversation.
That's a good point. So let's just break right down into it. You talked about those things that we grew up with that are nostalgic to us. I'm from Baltimore. I'm a diehard Baltimore Ravens fan. I had the pleasure of being able to work for the Baltimore Ravens for a short time within my career. And there's just some pieces that, no matter the value, I'm never going to get rid of. So when you look at the world of collecting, one of the big things right now is merchandising and memorabilia. Memorabilia is everywhere, especially in the sports industry. One of my prized possessions here, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, game used Ray Lewis
Sick.
autographed helmet. These are the types of things that you can't replicate. This was worn on the field by the man himself, signed by the man himself. This is something that's going to stay in my collection forever.
For sure. And the thing about it, like, as soon as I saw Chris with that helmet and he turned it towards me and I saw the face mask, like I could see Ray Lewis lined up at middle linebacker knocking Chad Johnson's head off.
It makes you feel something.
So
It gives you something.
yeah, so it just, the thing about collectibles, it can take you to a specific time and place to where just automatically I snap back to seeing Ray Lewis at middle
sure.
linebacker. So talk to him about, like, because all helmets and things like that are not like official game worn. Some are replicas, some are like, just talk about the difference in between those, official
For
game
sure.
worn versus.
The first thing, whenever you're collecting memorabilia, one of the first things you want to do is have some form of certificate of authenticity,
Mhm.
and you want it to be from one of the big authenticators. There's certain ones out there. We'll certainly put links to those that are out there and make a list of the ones that are trusted. But you want to find one of the big ones. Beckett Authentication, JSA Authenticators. Those are two of the big ones in the marketplace. So that's the first thing. Anything you buy, you want to make sure that it comes authenticated. The second thing is you want to make sure you just look in the marketplace, right? You want to look at comps. Comps
Yeah.
are a big thing. What we mean by comps, if you're new to the game, those are sales that have already occurred on a similar product. It gives you something to compare the pricing to.
Not listed, sells, actually sells.
It's got to be sold. So you want to make sure that you're not overpaying for an item.
Yeah.
So this was listed as a game worn. You can see if you get in on there, the scratches on the helmet. This has gone helmet to helmet. It comes with paperwork certifying not only that it was worn, the game that it was used in, and it also certifies the actual autograph on the helmet as being authentic by Ray Lewis. Those are the things you want to look for. Now, the second thing is there's a difference between actual authentic memorabilia and replica memorabilia. So if you look at the interior of this helmet, this is an actual football helmet that was worn on the field. If this was a replica, you'd notice it for a couple things.
Yeah.
Number one, it's going to be a lot lighter.
Yeah, because I mean, this is Ray Lewis is not out there sacrificing his life unless he has some, density to a helmet like this right here. This definitely feels like an on-field helmet.
A little bit. And you'll also notice on a replica real easily on the interior, all of this will be hollowed out and it's actually going to have probably a piece of cardboard or foam in here that's going to make it to where you're going to know instantly that it's a replica.
Yeah. So I have one, a 49er one, and it has like, instead of the padding right here, there's nothing there. And it has like this plastic cover right here that separates where you can't actually put the helmet on.
Right.
Unless you're like me, you take it out and you.
So from a memorabilia perspective, those are some of the highlights that you want to look for. You want to make sure that you're using one of the authenticators that is prominent in the field so that you know you're getting a legit product. You want to make sure you do your homework, look at the comps that are out in the market so you're not overpaying for something. And at the end of the day, collect what you like, because if the value tanks, if you're doing it just because of, the thing is worth something from a monetary perspective, tomorrow that could all go away. So if you like it, then it's going to be something that you're never going to regret having in your collection.
Correct. And both of us grew up wrestling fans and still are wrestling fans. So they make sports.
Let me tell you something, brother.
And I was more of a, I was a sexy boy, more HBK. But like these are sports cards from wrestling cards, right? So they do make cards for damn near every sport.
Mhm.
So what this is, Charlotte Flair. So this one right here this is called a one of one. So you can see that platinum foil right there. And what that means is, for you that are not used to collecting, this is the only one of this card made that looks exactly like this, with the color, the autograph, the design, and everything, right? So, and if you look at this right here, it's an autograph, and this one specific is on card. So that means that Charlotte Flair actually held this card and signed it. You will see in the industry that there are different types of cards. Some have stickers, so where they send them out to Topps, Panini, Leaf, whoever, and they sign those stickers, and then they put the stickers on the card, the manufacturer. So
For sure.
that's a little bit different. That doesn't mean that the athlete actually held that card and signed it. So that's why these on card autographs sell for more.
Absolutely. You talk about taking you back to somewhere. I mean,
Mhm.
this was our childhood. This is what I grew up. I remember when I was growing up, I would sneak a little mini television into my room because they would have Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
You would have Saturday Night Live on 3
Yeah.
weekends out of the month, and one night was Saturday night's main event, and you would watch Randy Macho Man Savage
That's
and Hulk
it.
Hogan go at it, and all the old school wrestlers. So now the wrestling has become more prominent. It's
Yeah.
got a deal on TV with Netflix.
For sure.
You're starting to see the rise of the wrestling card market, and it's something to get into.
Bro, I mean, this nostalgia is like insane. So I'm gonna one up you right here.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say any names because the parents of this kid might come across this video, right?
Right.
So this is no lie, I promise you. In middle school, we used to meet this kid in the bathroom, bro, like once a week, and he would let us do wrestling moves on him. So no lie, one time I told you I was HBK. So if you know his move is sweet chin music.
Right.
I sweet chin music this kid through the door. It came off the hinges. He fell on the toilet,
That's
got up
crazy.
screaming. I mean, we relived every single moment.
That's
I would go into Winn-Dixie in the grocery store and look at the pay-per-view, because I didn't get pay-per-view as a kid.
For sure. For sure.
So how I found out what happened was looking at these magazines.
Right.
So I would go see, Stone Cold's a new champion. Then I would watch Raw that coming Monday. So the nostalgia with wrestling, and this is just one sport. We're going to talk about all sports and how you can get in to whatever market you want to get into. But wrestling we're huge fans of it. And these are the collectibles that you could get into and own a piece of history from whoever your favorite wrestler is or any other sports figure.
Absolutely. And the world of sports obviously is huge, from everything from hockey to basketball to baseball to football. We're going to break down all of those in future episodes where we're really going to get into the meat and potatoes of each individual sport, players to watch, how to do those things. But these are things that you really gravitate to. It's the stuff that just means something, that has a little bit of meaning to you. And one of those other things that has meaning to a lot of people is Disney.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The
I mean,
rise of Disney has been something that we haven't seen before, from just the movies and the amount of people in the turnstiles that are walking through Disney World and Disneyland every
yeah,
year has grown exponentially. Well, the card market has taken hold. They've heard
yeah.
of what's out there, and now they have Disney card sets. So believe it or not, you can go out and you can actually purchase sets of cards that have your favorite nostalgic Disney characters. Right here, we've got Fox and the Hound, you've got Aristocats, but you can find almost every Disney character in a collection. They've got autographs, pieces of memorabilia. It's just the market has exploded.
So show those cards again, and so you notice that one of them is gold, and we call that like an atomic or cracked ice, whatever that parallel is. And one of them the same way, it's designed the same way, but it's orange. So what they've done is, depending on the color, they're numbered to a specific number. So the orange one's numbered to 25 and the gold one's numbered to 50. So what that means is that orange parallel that you just saw, there's only 25 of those in the world. So like Chris has one of them, so there's only 24 more out
That's
there.
right.
So that's a cool thing too. So you know exactly where the market is of how many they're out there, opposed to like back in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
We grow up, you don't know how many of these cards are made.
You'll hear one of the terms, they'll call it the junk wax era. That just means things were overproduced. So the way that card manufacturers have found a way to manipulate that is to limit the number that they put out. And this is one way of doing it. They can do it through just select number of autographs in it. They can do it by colors of parallels. They can do it in a number of different ways, but it's just a way for you to get a piece of the market that's a little bit more limited, and they can maintain and hold value for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, don't. We're going to break down all of this stuff in
Correct.
future episodes. We're going to go through it all, but this just gives you a little bit of insight into the passion as to why we wanted to come on and share what we really are passionate about with you there, the consumer. One of the other things that we grew up on big time, and I remember this goes back to when I was in middle school. I mean, I had a mom that was working a couple jobs to
Yeah.
try to afford the old Jordans with the air bubble in the bottom of the Jordans.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got them, we would take a pen and we would pop that air
Yep.
bubble.
Just ruined them.
Just ruin the shoe. Talk about an industry that has gone absolutely berserk. The sneaker market is absolutely insane. Now, I grew up being a poser, trying to skateboard. That was one of my things. I would go out with my brother, we would skateboard.
Yeah.
And so Nike put out a specific line of shoes called the Nike SB Dunks. They're specific for skateboarding. You can see behind us, we've got the wall of shoes back here. It's something I'm passionate about, but wanted to share just a couple of really special pairs with you here. Now, what they do and what I love about Nike SBs, not only do they come out with really unique patterns on the shoes, but they have special collaborations and partnership. This, for example, is a partnership with Travis Scott. This is one of the Travis Scott Nike SB Dunks. Looks like a normal shoe. It's got the cool pattern. It's got the Travis Scott logo on the tongue. It comes, very limited, hard to find in brand new quality on these shoes. And you can find pairs of these shoes that can go for up to $2,500, $3,000 a pair, which is absolutely insane to think about. We used to wear these, skateboard, and tear them apart.
Yeah. And this one, same concept, Red Lobster. Make a couple different colorways of these. If you notice, get it real close, you can see the pattern is that of an actual lobster, with the picnic basket and all that good stuff, picnic tablecloth.
That's right.
Like Chris said, man, they'll come out at a certain price that is probably affordable to your average human being.
If you can get them.
Exactly. And then what the kicker is, they only make a certain amount of them, just like with the sports cars we just showed you. And that's what drives up the market for shoes like this. But we talked about in the intro, when you wear a pair of shoes like this, when you're walking around with a Charlotte Flair 1 of 1, when you're walking around with somebody comes to your man cave, they see the Ray Lewis signed helmet, it immediately gets attention and it's a conversation starter. So just the energy that it creates, man, and the nostalgia, and it gives people attention.
That's right. And it's a conversation piece. I mean, people come in and they see the shoe, that's one of the things that people like, oh, you wear these things just to be flamboyant and try to get attention.
Yeah.
It's not attention seeking, but what it is I love when I'm going through the airport and someone sees a shoe and they stop me. Where'd you get that? Tell me the story behind it. And I get to share, why I like it, what makes it important and special to me, the story behind it. And maybe I've turned somebody else on to now, being a collector of that as well. So, there's certain things that just, it brings about, just this feeling of, I want to share this with everybody and get as many people on it as possible. We've got two more kind of topics we want to touch on. One of them is new, and I'm relatively new to it as well. It's the rise of things like art cards and specialty cards that are in the marketplace. So, if you're a fan of artwork, this is something that may be of interest to you.
And this is brand new to me. I had no idea that, and I'm even in the sports card industry, and I had no idea that things like this even exist. So,
Yeah. So they've got artists out there, and what they do is custom pieces. So they will put their art, take it from the wall on a portrait, and actually put it onto a card. I'm going to put my guy on a pedestal here and just shout him out a little bit. But there's a guy in particular named Kixtradamus that I have become friends with. He is a celebrity in the shoe game. He's done custom shoes for multiple celebrities out there. In fact, just Birdie told me that he may be doing a really special collaboration coming up with WrestleMania, which we'll keep under wraps. Hopefully, we'll have him on here to talk about. But this is just an example of one of the pieces that he's done. This is a custom art card that was done of the greatest to play the game. Many would argue Lionel Messi. But it is a custom piece of art from him. It is a one of one. There's only one of them in the world. I happen to have it, but this is on the rise. You're starting to see more and more people get into this world. What it does is it takes a piece of artwork that normally hangs on a wall, makes it a bit more compact so you can take it with you. You can share it with people a little bit easier. And it's really just an area that I've kind of grown into and I'm exploring a lot more and become really a fan of.
yeah, which is cool. Like Chris just said, Messi, one of the goats. Sorry for you, Cristiano Ronaldo fans, but so if you're a Messi fan, what cool way would it be to represent Messi and then to have one of those cool cards? I mean, the artwork on this card is insane. So
grab the box there, that 50/50 box right in front of you.
this right here.
Go ahead and open that up. So this is what they'll look like. This comes in a custom box itself. This is actually one of the pieces that he came out with. One of the big stories in sports this year was Shohei Ohtani becoming the first with 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. That was a one of one art card that was done specifically for that. So you can take any sort of medium, anything in pop culture. You'll see these with Pokemon. You'll see these. Anime is really big.
Yeah.
So you can cross over anything. They put their heart and soul into the artwork. They put it onto a card, and then you can have it in your hand.
Awesome. This is not for everybody, but if you're into art and you have favorite athletes or people in general, this is a cool thing to have as a collectible.
Right. So the other thing that we're going to get into, and again, this is just another piece to the puzzle, is the collectible market.
Woo!
That's right. We're in North Carolina, Charlotte's own Ric Flair, but the collectible market. This is something that it's been around for forever. But talk a little bit about the evolution and what it's come to today.
So man, I remember getting these bad boys as kids, and we would just take them straight out of the package, take them to school, get the raw ring. We're playing, trying to do the finishing moves on other characters. But so that's what that is. The action figure you see of Ric Flair here. But the difference in this one and the ones that I had as a kid is Ric Flair actually autographed that box. So that's pretty cool. A guy like Ric Flair does not sign a whole bunch of autographs with card companies. So people, if you want a Ric Flair autograph, this is a different way to go about it. I mean, you'll see Funko Pops as well that are autographed, that people have from different, actors or voice characters and things like that. It's a different way of collecting and owning a piece of history of your favorite athlete.
Yeah, imagine turning back the clock if you would have had an unopened Luke Skywalker from the original little figures, or a Cabbage Patch doll. If you remember that craze, I'm showing my age a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember back in the 80s, people were literally fighting for Cabbage Patch dolls in the stores, and having one of those unopened in a box is just kind of amazing.
Yeah, my grandmother, I was a huge Michael Jackson fan growing up too, so I would, wear my little Power Ranger Ninja Turtle underwear, moonwalking across the kitchen. And sorry for that visual. And but she had all of Michael Jackson's Thriller collections.
Wow.
So it was the red jacket. I remember seeing that one. I remember when he did the Super Bowl. I forgot what Super Bowl it was when he wore the black and gold jacket. Right. She had that Michael Jackson figurine. And so it's just, I mean, collectibles are the coolest thing I think to ever exist.
They are, and we've scratched the surface. So you can do everything from, if you remember back in the 70s, people would have these pet rocks, right? You can have a rock collection, which could cost you little to no money to start up, or some of the things we're going to talk about in future episodes. You can have a car collection worth millions, right? So the beauty of it is it's for all ages, it's for all demographics, it's for whether you're rich or poor. You can start a collection if you're passionate about it. That's where it all stems from, is having the passion about it. and just really finding something that you want to, be able to immerse yourself into.
Yeah.
So
That's what we're gonna bring to you.
that's the goal. We're each and every week we're going to bring you a fresh episode with something to just latch onto. Whether it's sports cards, we're going to talk about some things you're passionate
Yeah,
about,
like
cigars and
cigars.
whiskey,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So maybe not my forte,
Correct.
something that Trey is really passionate about, but we're going to learn. That's the thing. So we appreciate you tuning in and watching. The goal for us is just to learn together, to grow together, to help educate, and we're going to learn along the way, which is going to be great. So we appreciate you taking some time to listen to us, to find out what this is all about. We hope that we see you coming along for the ride in future episodes.
And welcome to the Collector's Corner. Peace.
Turn me up.